The window is back open. I'm Dan Wiederer, joined by happy Terrapin fan Rich Campbell. Rich, what are you checking there on your phone, buddy?
Oh, I was just showing you the back of the phone case here. Happy Terrapin fan. I see that. It was a good time in Champaign on Friday.
Yeah, you got to see Maryland win a game. I got to see Illinois cover, as I told these folks last week that they would. They were getting 7 and a hook. They covered that. They beat the spread there. Tell me about your experience, especially in the final seconds there in Memorial Stadium in a tense game.
Well, it was my first time at Memorial Stadium, as you know. I'd actually been there to an Illinois Pro Day a few years ago, but never seen a game there, and I'd never walked the concourse. Was a little surprised at how really old that stadium is. I mean,
oh yeah,
dingy.
Red Grange, baby.
Of course, that's right. But both teams were bad, right? It was really cool to be back in an environment where there's just music blaring, fans, and the energy. And again, we're talking Illinois and Maryland, right? This is not like Alabama, Florida energy, but it feels like it compared to where we've come through in the last, 18 months and stuff. So it was cool being there. Maryland played terribly. It was an over 61, which I went to the window on. It was 3-3 at halftime. So that was gone. And obviously following your pick of Illinois plus 7.5. Yeah, Maryland scored 10 points in the last, 3-4 minutes of that game and won. So it was cool. I went home happy.
There you go. And I went home happy too. I sat at home happy. So there it is. It was a good week for us last week in week 2. We were both 5-2. That means a lot to our audience because if we can keep giving you 5-2 every week, everyone's going to be happy, right? You were able to hit your upset pick in the NFL, which was the Panthers, right?
It's Panthers 155. So that makes 2 weeks out of 2 that one of us has hit the money line upset. So if you're playing those, you're coming out on top so far.
Yeah, and look, so that gives you a little boost in the points total. So you get up to 355 for the season after 2 weeks. I'm at 280. I'm chasing, but happy with my performance last week. That was a solid week for us, both at 5-2, and now we've got to back it up, right? And so we're going to do as we always do. We're going to start with Sunday's Bears game. Intriguing Sunday Bears game with Justin Fields, the rookie quarterback, making his first start in Cleveland. Road trips to Cleveland used to be gimme wins. They're no longer in this world in 2021. The Bears are getting 7 points from the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to kick it off and say Browns -7. I'm going to go that route. This is, for me, a lack of faith in the Bears offense as a whole, a lack of faith that they can put together a game plan that will minimize mistakes for a rookie quarterback against a fast defense that can challenge you in a lot of different ways. I'm trying to learn from my mistake in week 1 when the Bears were on the road, and I thought they could keep it close, and the thing got away on them. I think the Browns can win this one by 10, and so that's where I'm starting.
I would have said the exact same thing for all of it, all the way through. Would it surprise me if the Bears scored defensively and even pulled an upset in this game? Not necessarily, right? But you go with the odds play, which is that you have a QB2 making his first NFL start on the road. It kind of doesn't need to go much further than there. We'll see what he's got, and he can maybe change our thinking, Justin Fields, in this offense. But until we see it, yeah, I like the Browns as a team that's come together pretty nicely in the first 2 weeks.
It's been 3 years for me of trying to figure out if Matt Nagy's offense was going to get on track. It hasn't gotten on track yet. Last week, Rich, and we'll talk about this in a later video, they got 4 turnovers from the defense in the second half, and the offense only turned the 3 that they had a chance to do something with into 6 points. That's not good enough. So right now you got to play the see it to believe it game with that offense. All right.
And hold on, before you go too, Odell Beckham, a full participant in practice Thursday. So he's probably making his season debut. It's another weapon for the Browns offense as they shuffle in the receivers. No Jarvis Landry, but that's a nice weapon for the Browns coming back.
Who also have a very sturdy running game as well to help them along in the process. Game of the week this week is easy. Bucs and Rams. It's easy to pick the game of the week. It's not easy to get the winner on this. What a game this is going to be. I'm going back to the logic I used last week in the game of the week, which cost me, which was when in doubt, go with Patrick Mahomes. Here I'm saying when in doubt, go with Tom Brady. The Buccaneers are favored by 1 on the road against a very, very good Los Angeles Rams team at SoFi Stadium. Brady, I'm watching the afternoon game last week from the press box at Soldier Field, and I'm looking up and I'm going, he's going to throw for 70 touchdowns this year. And I crunched numbers when I got home. He's on pace for 76 touchdown passes through 2 weeks. That's a pretty good start to the season for Tom Brady and an offense he feels comfortable with. I think this is going to be a really, really good game in LA. But again, it just feels like the Buccaneers understand who they are as well as anyone in the league right now, and who they are is Tom Brady's team. Brady is going to cover the number. The Bucs are going to go in and get a win in LA.
Yeah, what a great matchup this is on paper. Because I think you could make the case at this point, these are the two best teams in the NFC. And I'm with you about Brady and how impressive their start has been. Now, this will be the first road test for them.
Sure.
So it doesn't get much tougher. Leonard Floyd did not practice for the Rams the first 2 days this week. Darrell Henderson has been out the first 2 days this week. So the Rams are missing a couple of important starters in that regard. That's enough for me to give it to the Patriots. I don't think either of us would be surprised if the Bucs don't turn out to be as polished on the road,
right?
Country in a huge game. And so if the Rams won, okay. But yeah, you go with Brady. And I get the sense, tell me if you agree, that team had a new quarterback, a new coach, to partnership through the middle of last season, right? And they ascended through the playoffs, and their defense was really good in the front seven particularly, and they won the Super Bowl. And to me, it just feels like they're still ascending.
Correct.
Right? They ascend through the Super Bowl, and now what are they going to do? You could make the argument, if you wanted to go the other way, they're probably not going to go 16-0, right? So you've got to find some losses on their schedule.
Sure.
There's probably no game they're more likely to lose than this one.
Yeah.
So you would say, okay, let me pick the Rams for that reason, but I'll go with the Bucs for what you said. I just think they're the better team right now.
Antonio Brown wound up on the reserve COVID-19 list this week, so we'll see what happens with him going forward. That's a setback for the Bucs. We'll see if they can overcome that. All right, it's time to move on to lock territory. And for me, I circled this one. I put it in highlighter. I got the red pen out and underlined it. The over in Ravens-Lions at 49.5. And I go this way because the Lions can't stop anyone. They've given up 76 points through 2 weeks. The 49ers and the Packers both poured it on them. That puts the Lions every week in a game where they're chasing and most likely to get some sort of garbage time points at the end. They got a bunch of them against the 49ers because they were recovering onside kicks and trying to make that game close. Not as successful against the Packers last week, but you talk about a Ravens team that's proven it can score going up against the Lions defense that can't stop anybody. Getting to 50 doesn't seem like that great of a challenge in this game. I circled that, highlighted it, underlined it.
I love that pick. I love it. You look at Kansas City, Los Angeles Chargers, that's 54.5. Ravens line should, in my mind, more explosive point potential than that Chiefs Chargers matchup. So I love that. My lock of the week here is what I would, I'd probably put in my gospel of going to the window in the NFL. And that is when Vic Fangio is at home against a rookie quarterback making his, third start in the NFL, you take the Vic Fangio and whatever number it is, and that's Broncos minus 10.5 against the Jets. I think the Broncos defense will have their way with Zach Wilson, who really struggled against the Patriots last week. More of the same. That matchup doesn't get any easier. That's a big number for the Broncos, but I just believe in Vic and their defense's ability to shut that thing down. That total is 41. I mean, that's a low total.
That is a low total.
To have another lopsided game like that Patriots-Jets score was last week, but I think they'll do it.
Vic, how do you feel like your defense is coming together?
Good.
Exactly response I wanted. All right, we're going to move on to the upset pick. As you mentioned earlier, we've been able to hit at least one of these in each week.
I've got two, and I don't know what you've got, so I'm going to let you go first, and then I'll go the other way.
All right.
Ranked, so go ahead.
You don't have to go another way. You can go whatever way you want.
I think I might.
I got to say, I didn't think there were a lot of great options this week. Thumbing through it, the last couple of weeks, I've gone through and said, man, this is hard to pick just one out of this. You've got two. I had trouble getting to one. The obvious one to me is the Packers on the road against the 49ers. They're getting 3 points. It's a plus 145 on the money line. It felt like the Packers found their footing Monday night against the Lions. Easy team to find your footing against. But Rodgers was ready to run the score up at the end. They were up big, and they were still throwing deep late into that football game, which tells you where the mentality is of trying to let the outside world know that week one was the anomaly and not the trend. And so I think the Packers go on the road to Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Don't say San Francisco. And they get a W. And what is could have been the game of the week also. That's another really, really good game that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, that would have been my number one pick, and I don't have a problem pivoting just because there's a bit of a more reward in our point system here by picking a bigger underdog.
Pivot.
But hey, I like the pick for all the reasons you said, and if that season opener for the Packers is really an anomaly, and the Packers are who everybody thought they were going to be entering the season, then yeah, they could win this game outright, by a touchdown or more. So love the pick. I'll go with Eagles plus 160 at Dallas. Dallas goes home for the first time this season, and I like that result of theirs last week, winning at Los Angeles Chargers. That's a nice stamp and a follow-up to a season opener against Tampa, where I thought Dallas was flattered by the final score. They get a couple fluky turnovers, and I just didn't think they were as good as that final score indicated. And then they played well to beat the Chargers. So it would be really disappointing for the Cowboys if they don't win. But Philly showed well on the road in the first week of the season against Atlanta. And like I said, I'd go Packers if I had a top choice, but I'm happy going with the Eagles because I think in these NFC East games, they're close. They're decided by a few plays. So we'll see the Eagles can pull it out.
Monday nighter for you on that one. So get ready to stay up late on Monday night. All right. I'm going to give you the first crack at the teaser. I'm 2-0 on teasers this year. I love where we're at with the teasers, and I think we can continue the roll.
I'm 0-2 on teasers, and I feel terrible about it because I usually like these a lot. I'm keeping you in this race by stumbling over the teasers here. So interested to hear what you think of what I've dug up. I'm going to start with Falcons at the Giants. They are getting 3 points. So you tease it to 9. I just don't think the Giants can beat anybody by 9. That's kind of where it begins and ends. I don't think much of the Falcons. I just don't think the Giants can beat anyone by 9. So
I'm with you there.
I'll go with the Falcons, and then I'm going. It's a sensitive subject here in the Indianapolis area this week. Titans Colts. I mean, this is a huge game for the Colts, who are 0-2. The Colts covered last week against the Rams. Despite 0 points on 2 possessions that went inside the 5-yard line in the first 3 quarters of that game. I mean, Carson Wentz threw an interception on a shovel pass at like the 3. They went 4 and out on 1st and goal from the 1 on their first possession of the game. I mean, just that they could have won that game, and instead Carson Wentz comes out with 2 sprained ankles. Two sprained ankles. He hasn't practiced the first 2 days this week. They don't have a convincing backup plan at quarterback.
Jacob Eason.
Well, Carson Wentz comes with this terrible injury history, and the Colts didn't do enough to cover themselves here. And it could be a fatal flaw for their season. If they get to 0-3 and they lose to the Titans in Tennessee, they're really looking uphill. They've got a tough schedule. That's fine. We all know that, but you're still digging the hole. Wentz isn't going to play this game, and I think the Titans showed in Seattle last week that they just laid an egg in week 1 against the Cardinals. So Titans 5.5, take it down through 0. That's just a victory in the game for the Titans at home against Colts. I think against, like you said, Jacob Eason. Colts are talking about rotating quarterbacks. That tells you everything you need to know right there, that they don't have one. So Falcons, Titans on the teaser. What do you
like the local knowledge there too. That's good local knowledge. I saw someone on Twitter say that Carson Wentz's body is made out of Nature Valley granola bars. So that tells you what some folks think of how often he gets hurt. My teaser this week is going back with my lock from last week, the Buffalo Bills, who I think are absolutely legit, and teasing that down from 7-1 against the Washington football team. The Bills are really, really good. They showed it last week. They won 35-0. That offense can really get humming. The defense is pretty good. I see no issue with them winning that football game at home against the Washington football team. So you get that down to 1, and you pair that with a rare under in the Bucs-Rams game that we talked about earlier. You get that teased up to 61.5. It feels like both of these defenses, while we will talk a lot about both offenses, both of these defenses are good enough to keep this thing, there's going to be a couple quarters where there's not a lot of scoring action, right? The kickers may be used a little bit more than the end zone celebrations. And so that's where I'm at. Bills -1, the under 61.5 in Bucs-Rams. That's your teaser for the week.
Worth noting that Bills were your lock last week in that 35.
I did note that just a moment ago, and said that they not only were locked, they were triple locked, which I love.
Triple locked, good.
Triple locked them across the board in a lot of ways.
Many roses, yeah, that's right.
The just for fun game. I'll let you start this one out. I'm going to come back to a game you've already mentioned. But fire away.
All right, I'm going to stick with Colts Titans. I think they're going under 48 because I just don't think the Colts are going to be able to move the ball with their backup quarterbacks.
All right, perfect. That's it. In and out. I love it. I'm going with the over 52 in Eagles Cowboys on Monday night. So we'll both be staying up late for that game. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. Let's turn it loose. Let's put some points on the board. Should be a fun showdown there.
Fly Eagles fly.
In Dallas, as you mentioned. All right, now we always call this the Saturday fun. Last week we called it the pre-Sunday fun because you were going to Memorial Stadium, as mentioned, for that Illinois-Maryland game. We got our college pick of the week. I'm buying low on Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers. They're laying 10 in Raleigh against the NC State Wolfpack. It feels like they've underachieved through the first stretch of this season, and they're due to lay it on someone, maybe a 20, 24-point win somewhere along the line. They're only given 10 in Raleigh. So go back the Clemson Tigers. It's very rarely, you talk about regret factor. You won't regret that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I like that pick. I'm going to go with West Virginia Mountaineers getting 17 at Oklahoma.
A lot of points.
Yeah, it has not put teams away like they were expected to. I don't think West Virginia is West Virginia lost to Maryland on the road, so that tells you something right there. They've got some quarterback problems, and it's not a great team, but 17 a lot. So I think West Virginia will just keep it close enough. Those types of games always get high scoring, and so backdoor possibility there. I'll take West Virginia.
Oklahoma's defense hasn't shown that they can step up to the challenge yet, so I'm good with that. All right, again, we have our slogan: before you go to the window, come to the window. We've given you a lot to choose from here. Pick wisely. We'll continue to update you on how we're doing, and then hopefully you can continue to update us on how you're doing. And this can be a partnership as we go forward, right?
I've got a rule. I don't say no to winners. So if somebody's offering them up in the comments here, they're subscribing, liking the video, offer it up, we'll always receive it.
We see something we like, we'll hit the thumbs up arrow, and we'll track it along and find out who on the comment section is having a better time than us. That's Rich Campbell. I'm Dan Wiederer. Good luck in week 3.
Good luck.